It's August 2nd here in Seoul, and I'm Kim Dami. We begin with these stories making the headlines at this hour. Starting with the South Korean mixed doubles badminton team, which is now aiming for a first gold medal in 16 years. Won-ho and Jeong Na-eun will now aim for the gold after defeating their fellow Korean athletes Seo Seung-jae and Choi Yu-jung in their tight semifinal on Thursday. Meanwhile, South Korean boxer Lim Ae-ji has secured the country's first Olympic boxing medal in 12 years. The biggest prisoner exchange between the West and Russia since the Cold War took place on Thursday. 24 detainees, including individuals accused of spying, were freed. The World Bank has praised South Korea as a growth superstar that escaped from the middle-income trap through technology, investment, and innovation. The global agency stressed Korea's economic history is a must-read for policymakers in all middle-income countries. An exchange for 24 prisoners between Russia and Western countries took place on Thursday, the largest such deal since the Cold War. The multi-country exchange in Turkey included American citizens, political prisoners, and human rights advocates. Park Gun starts us off.
A historic prisoner exchange of 24 detainees between 7 Western countries, including the U.S. and Russia, was made on Thursday. That's the largest since the post-Soviet era. 16 people who were held in Russian detention were released to the West in exchange for 8 Russians. 3 U.S. citizens, including Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich and former U.S. Marine Paul Whelan, were released under the deal. The swap is a result of months of negotiations between several countries involved, including the U.S., Germany, and Russia. The release of convicted Russian assassin Vadim Krasikov, who was serving a life sentence in Germany, was one of Russia's main requests and key to making the deal happen. Russian President Vladimir Putin visited the airport to welcome the returning Russians, including Krasikov. Meanwhile, U.S. President Joe Biden on Thursday thanked Washington's allies by calling it a feat of diplomacy.
The deal that made this possible was a feat of diplomacy and friendship. Multiple countries helped get this done. They joined the difficult, complex negotiations at my request, and I personally thank them all again.
He added that the U.S. will continue to make efforts to free all wrongfully detained Americans around the world. Also on Thursday, former U.S. President Donald Trump downplayed the deal, raising doubts that a massive amount of money would have been paid to Russia. But the White House said that no such money was sent and restrictions were lifted to conclude the exchange. Park Gun-woo, Arirang News.
Iran has threatened harsh punishment for Israel, which it holds responsible for assassinating Hamas's leader on Wednesday. Now, Israel is yet to directly comment on the death, but Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has warned that any retaliatory actions against his country will be met with a forceful response. Lee Seung-jae reports.
After killing senior Hezbollah and Hamas leaders, Israel is expected to be met with retaliatory attacks. However, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu remains firm in that Israel will not succumb to any attacks by its enemies, warning on Wednesday that any attacks will be responded to forcefully. In a televised statement, the Israeli leader warned citizens that challenging days are ahead, adding that the Israeli military is prepared for any scenario and that it will exact a heavy price for any aggression against Israel. The remarks come as the Israeli military on Tuesday announced it had killed Fuad Shukr, a senior Hezbollah commander, which Israel blamed for the Golan Heights attack that killed 12 children and teens. Meanwhile, the Iranian military has warned Israel of retaliation after the death of a senior Hamas leader and the death of senior Hezbollah commanders. According to the chief commander of the Islamic Revolution Guard Corps Major General Hossein Salami on Thursday, Israel's war crimes in the Middle East have evoked wrath among its troops to seek revenge. Salami noted that Iranian military advisor Malad Bidi was martyred in Beirut from an Israeli strike a day before Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh was assassinated in Tehran. The New York Times on Thursday revealed how Haniyeh was killed during his visit to Tehran. Citing a number of Middle Eastern officials, the article said an explosive device was covertly smuggled into a guest house in Tehran, where Haniyeh was staying. The bomb had been hidden about 2 months prior and detonated remotely when the Hamas leader was visiting Iran for the inauguration of the new president. While Israel has not publicly admitted responsibility, several U.S. officials who spoke on the condition of anonymity told the New York Times that it believes Israel was behind the attack. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
An appeals court in Montenegro on Thursday local time ruled that the disgraced Terraform Labs co-founder Do Kwon should be extradited to South Korea. Now, this comes as the court upheld a ruling by a lower court to extradite Kwon to South Korea instead of the U.S. The appeals court also said that Thursday's decision is legally binding, but it isn't immediately clear when Kwon could be extradited. Kwon had been arrested and imprisoned in Montenegro for using a fake passport. He is accused of being behind the over $40 billion crush in the cryptocurrency market after Terra USD and its sister currency, Luna Coin, collapsed below the $1 peg.
Good morning, I'm Kim Si-young. The Paris Summer Olympic Games are in full swing, and here are the latest updates. We begin today with badminton mixed doubles, where two South Korean teams met in the semifinals on Wednesday. South Korea's Kim Won-ho and Jeong Na-eun beat their compatriots Seo Seung-jae and Choi Yu-jung 2-1 after a thrilling match at La Chapelle Arena in Paris. 25-year-old Kim and 24-year-old Jeong prevailed over last year's World Championship winning pair Seo and Choi in what is their first victory over their compatriots in 6 meetings. The winners Kim and Jeong are set to face world number 1 Zheng Shiwei and Hwang Ya-kyung of China in the gold medal match on Friday. Seo and Choi will compete for bronze against Yuta Watanabe and Arisa Higashino of Japan. Last time South Korea has won an Olympic medal in badminton's mixed doubles was in 2008. Now moving over to boxing, South Korea's Lim Ae-ji has won Team Korea its first boxing medal in 12 years, after securing at least a bronze from winning in the women's 54-kilogram quarterfinals on Thursday. 25-year-old Lim has also become the first female boxer in Korea to win an Olympic medal. She beat Colombia's Jenny Marcela Arias Castañeda by 3-2 on Thursday evening local time at the North Paris Arena. As Olympic boxing does not play a bronze medal match, even if Im loses in the semifinals, she is guaranteed a bronze medal. She's the first Korean boxer to win a medal at the Olympics since Han Sun-chul won a silver in the men's 60-kilogram class in 2012. Lim Ae-ji will face Hatis Akbaş of Turkey in the semifinals on Sunday local time. South Korea's Shin Yu-bin beat Japan's Miyu Hirano 4-3 on Thursday to secure a ticket to the semifinals in women's singles table tennis. In what was an epic battle, Shin took a 3-game lead but was chased by Hirano, who drew level. Shin then won the tight 7th game with 13 points to 11. 20-year-old Shin is now eyeing her second medal in Paris after winning a bronze in mixed doubles. If she does so, it will be the first for Team Korea in 20 years since Yoo Seung-min won men's gold and Kim Kyung-ah won women's bronze in Athens. Shin Yu-bin will play China's Chen Meng on Friday at 10 a.m. local time in Paris. In gymnastics, famed American gymnast Simone Biles claimed her second Olympic all-around gymnastics title in an epic showdown. Biles scored a 59.131 total to win the gold medal in the women's individual all-around competition, beating Brazil's Rebeca Andrade, who came second with 57.932. Another American, Suni Lee, won the bronze with 56.465. Biles' win made history as she became the only American gymnast to win gold in all-around final more than once. Biles won her first title 8 years ago at the Rio Olympics.
The World Bank has called South Korea a growth superstar that should serve as an example for all middle-income countries who want to achieve high income levels. Our Kim Bo-kyung tells us more.
The World Bank has come up with a 21st century playbook for high-quality growth for the countries hitting what's called the middle-income trap. This refers to a situation in which a middle-income country experiences systematic growth slowdowns, unable to take on the new economic structures needed to sustain high income levels. Usually, countries hit the trap at about 10% of annual U.S. GDP per person, around $8,000. The issue is also closely related to the global economy.
It's these emerging middle-income countries that have high shares of the global GDP. Once they start growing, they can pull up the rest of the global economy. It's these middle-income countries right now are 60% of global emissions. How they grow will matter, because if they grow in the way that they're not energy efficient and they don't lower carbon intensity of growth, there will be a global crisis.
The problem is that many middle-income countries face bigger challenges than before. Rapidly aging populations, high debt, rising protectionism, and the need to consider reducing emissions. Thus, the World Bank proposes its 3I strategy. Low-income countries need to focus on investment first, expanding investment in physical capital, education, and infrastructure firms. Once lower middle-income status is obtained, they need to adopt technologies from abroad and spread them across the economy. Innovation comes last, developing industrial structures and technical competencies to add value to and advance the global technology frontier. The same expert says South Korea is a standout example, as the country successfully went through the phases within a period of 40 years. South Korea worked on reforms to encourage investment, especially in education, asked large conglomerates, including Samsung, to infuse cutting-edge technologies into the production process, and then focused on frontier innovation, changing the economic course at the right time. Just taking a look at South Korea's case could be helpful for middle-income countries, but more could be done.
Is to have many more partnerships between leading Korean firms and emerging market firms. Is to create these licensing and technology sharing relationships with other middle-income countries. Because I think that's going to be a channel that will be an important conduit for knowledge transfer. But the foundations of Korean development was education. And how did Korea manage to have full primary, full secondary, technical education, and how did they maintain quality? I think lessons for that and tailoring those ideas and working with policy makers in emerging economies would be very useful.
Kim Bo-kyung, Arirang News.
It's no exaggeration to say there is a convenience store on every block here in South Korea. From drinks and snacks to basic necessities, these stores have almost everything. Our An Sung-jin tells us what makes them even more special.
I'm standing here on the streets of Seoul, and one thing that stands out is that you can easily spot a handful of convenience stores on just one single block. I'll be walking through to see how many there are. The second one. So there are a lot of them around, which adds to convenience, but what makes them convenient when you step inside? They're more than a store where you can grab a quick snack. As the name suggests, convenience stores are easily accessible and provide services that are needed in everyday life. Not only can you pick up groceries, but convenience stores to foreign currency allow you to pay your utility bills, print things off, and even send and receive packages.
Before, I had to go to the post office, which would be time-consuming and expensive. But with the convenience store nearby, it's way cheaper and more convenient to do so.
According to the Korea Association of Convenience Store Industry, there are more than 55,000 convenience stores across the country. This means that there are approximately 950 people in the country per store, making South Korea the most densely populated when it comes to convenience stores.
As a retail store close to customers by providing various services, convenience stores provide comfort for customers, while for franchise stores, this can increase their sales. For delivery services, the usage rate increases significantly every year, and once customers come for parcel services, it sometimes leads to the sale of other products as well.
Data from the Trade Ministry shows that convenience store sales rose by nearly 10% last year. One expert says that there are various reasons as to why that's the case.
Korean convenience stores run various promotions and limited time sales. They also have tables outside so customers can enjoy the drinks or snacks that they have bought. Alongside an increase in single-person households, since more of the younger generation want to live in a city, they don't have much living space, which also means buying things in smaller quantities.
As these stores appear more and more on dramas and social media, it's no longer just the locals who come and enjoy the convenience store experience.
Everybody knows about convenience stores and how it's got everything here. In Canada, convenience stores are kind of just basically this convenient. If I need it, I'll go, but it's not as important as it would be.
With less time but more on the to-do list, the rise in convenience stores reflects the fast-paced life in South Korea. An Sung-jin, Arirang News.
Blistering heat has now replaced the monsoon rain here in Korea, making it tough for many of us to get to sleep. Will it get any hotter than it is now, and how long will these tropical nights last this summer? We turn to Professor Yoo Jin-ho for the answers. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us. A few weeks ago, during the monsoon season, you left us saying we have to wait until August to see if we have to prepare and brace ourselves for typhoons. And here we are now, well into August. Should we expect a typhoon in the coming weeks?
So the last week, we had a typhoon Gemi landing in Taiwan and Fujian province, China. It caused quite a bit of damage, including landslide and then the many casualties, flooding. Because it maintains the maximum sustained wind about 33 meters per second when the rainfall in Fujian province. So that story is still counting, but it's over 25 in China. So back to the questions that we are now getting into the typhoon season. So this month, and probably till September, we have to watch more carefully. Typhoon is very rare, but when it's near to or come to Korea, it can be very deadly. So we just have to watch it closely and prepare things accordingly.
Definitely. And for now, the unbearable heat is well upon us, and the sun goes down at nighttime. Why is it that it's still so hot during the nighttime? Let's talk about these tropical nights.
Yes, it's really hot outside, and I believe that everyone is receiving public messages talking about blistering heat. So when you receive those, you just don't need to stay outside that long if you don't need to. For heat at nighttime, you all probably heard so-called this urban heat island. So the heat in the day, especially in the urban area, is warm up the concrete, and those concrete, it contains the heat at the daytime, and then it releases it at nighttime. So even at nighttime, it's it's still hot. It's not like a daytime heat, but you feel uncomfortable. You can feel that it's still warm and hot. So it's especially when we are in the urban area, we are like Seoul or Gwangju, we experience this in a way like unvanishing heat at nighttime.
Right, it's not pleasant at all. And what's interesting is that this summer we've started to hear this new term called super tropical night. I think the term speaks for itself, but please explain what these are.
You can just assume this is an extreme form of this oven heat island. When we have this oven heat island effect, we just call maybe the tropical night. But then, some particular days and particular locations, it can be a bit more. It's very unusually hot, unusually maybe humid. So it's a similar things, but then you just assume that it's very extreme side of it.
So it's like a more extreme and upgraded version of these tropical nights that we're experiencing.
Right.
And apparently these super tropical nights are happening in certain regions, namely over in Gangneung and Sokcho, the East Coast. Now, will those of us here in Seoul experience the same phenomenon?
Yes, so the Gangneung and Sokcho, especially the northeast coast of Korea, is now experiencing kind of two winds, one from south directly, one from the southwesterly wind. So the wind from southwesterly that passing through the Taebaek Mountains, it's called the fan phenomena. You probably heard that it brings extra warmer and drier conditions. But then at the same time, we have the wind from south, which is usually hot and humid. So just combination of those two likely creating very, very uncomfortable condition for those areas. Whether that will experience in Seoul or some other part of the Korea, we still don't know yet. It's as far as I know, it's in a way it's a very localized phenomena. So that may, stay there for a few days more, but then hopefully after that it will be eventually kind of dissipated, and hopefully it won't happen in other part of the Korea.
You know, the month of August is considered one of the hottest months out of all the 12. Now, how long will we have to suffer these tropical nights this summer?
Well, today is only August 2nd, so it's really early part of the August. So likely another 2 weeks or 3 weeks that seasonally we are going to have this type of weathers. Hopefully, you may not feel it, but day by day it's going to be getting better and better. So after August 10th or the 15th, you may see that the early morning and the nighttime is going to be not like these days. It's still a bit, you can feel a bit cold air time to time. So another 2 to 3 weeks. That's the kind of a seasonal aspect of it. So we just have to watch it carefully. When you receive those messages, don't stay outside that long when it's not needed.
Well, whether it's a regular tropical night or a super tropical night, you have to leave us some tips on how to survive these exhausting nights.
So as mentioned earlier, you have to reduce the exposure to this type of conditions. So if you need to, if you don't need to stay outside that long, don't stay there. When you don't have choice but to walk in the outside, you need to take extra water, and then you need to take the break as much as possible. So I know some people don't have air conditioning systems, but there are shelters that operate by the local government. So when you cannot just deal with this type of heat. So when you need cool airs, just to find those the shelters and stay there for even 1 hour, that would really help. And then when your body start to react very strangely, like it's unusual that you never experience it, don't hesitate to call the help. And that's our body works in very strangely that there is some sort of a threshold line. If you are above it, it goes very fast. So you just need to get help as soon as possible.
Alrighty, Professor Yoon, thank you so much for making your time this morning. You stay cool.
Thank you very much.
Good morning. Do you have your umbrella with you? It's forecast to rain down in most parts of Korea today. Central regions will see 5 to 60 millimeters of rain, while heavy passing showers are in the forecast for certain parts of the country. The nighttime temperatures are going up each day, and the weather agency forecasts that the tropical nights will carry on at least 10 more days. So brace for more sweaty nights and days. The rain will make it feel even hotter with the high humidity, so take care. Seoul gets up to 32 degrees, Gwangju at 35, Daegu topping out at 37 degrees Celsius. Strong sunshine will beam down on southern provinces when it doesn't rain, with sultry days and high humidity. The intense heat shows no sign of easing up, but there could be occasional showers, so keep an umbrella handy. Once it starts to rain, it could pound down, so if you're enjoying summer getaways, be mindful of sudden downpours. With that in mind, let's take a look at the international weather conditions.
We thank you for watching New Day at Arirang. We'll be back next Monday at the same time, 9 a.m. Korea time.